Guys, the saddest thing happened to me. I found out Matpat is quitting YouTube. He has created my childhood with all of his videos, and I explicitly remember watching so many of his theories, like the bendy theories, the Rosalia Rosalina theory, and even the Five Nights at Freddy's theories. I watched so many of them. He has created my childhood and many others. And a good way to say bye to Matpat is making a video representing and respecting Matpat. So we're going to be watching the video of him leaving YouTube.
It's not clickbait. On March 9th, I will be hosting my last theory episode, at which point I'll be handing off the channels to someone else.
I will be live streaming his last video, It will be my first live stream, but I'm going to live stream his last video.
We're all done here. That's all you need to know, right? Oh, wow. Forgive me, by the way, if I'm a little bit more disorganized than usual. Normally, I would want to script out something like this pretty precisely. But with an announcement like this, I wanted to bring it back to just us.
It's so sad just seeing Matpat still saying sorry for us because he's not even really prepared for this video.
And sorry that I keep getting emotional about
I do
this.
respect that.
I'll try not to, but it's a big deal. Like, if you think about it, this channel is Steph and my first child, really. Before we had Ollie, before we had Skip, Catbat, like, it was this. This was our baby. This channel has been going for 13 years. I think in total it's somewhere around like 1,000.
And 6 of those years, I've enjoyed him.
Only half of those are FNAF. Shocking. I know, we actually did stuff that wasn't FNAF related. But this has been a literal third of my life. And I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss this. I value what we have here. I value this conversation, this openness, this relationship that we share. And I'm sad that I won't be able to see you every week. Which then I guess prompts the question of, like, why? Why am I doing this now? Why am I making this announcement today? Why am I walking away from the channels? Well, to be honest, it was Tom Scott. You can blame Tom Scott. Tom just did his farewell video, and I'm like, well, he was able to do it. I want to be able to fly away in a helicopter. Obviously, that's not it.
He still has his
really,
good old dad
my
jokes.
reasons for making this announcement today is probably largely the same as Tom's reasons, or Seth Everman's, or Captain Sparkles, or Papa Meats, or Stampy Longheads. Like, there's a lot of these videos that are coming out these days, and there's going to be a lot more happening throughout this year. Steph and I have known this video would be coming for the last 3 years. We weren't sure it was necessarily
I knew it
going
was
to be today.
coming, but I
We
didn't
know
suspect
exactly
it to be
when it would fall.
this
But we knew
year.
it was going to happen eventually. That's why over the last couple of years we've been staffing up so much. That's why we partnered with a larger company to help run the channels. That's why we've been spending so much time outside of this box training up the team to make the best videos that they can. Because we knew that we couldn't do this forever. We knew that, honestly, we didn't want to do this forever. For as much as I love you, and I love overthinking things, and I love theorizing,
it kind of cheers me up knowing how he still doesn't want this channel to go.
I don't love the fact
he's still
that Steph and I
gaining up
have been work first
members and stuff
for over a decade, where I'm sitting down at dinner with my best friend, and we're talking about business logistics. Or we're talking about animatronic toes. I miss the days where I could just sit down on the couch with her and play video games, and it's not for content. Or I'm playing a game and I'm not thinking about what theories are going to come out of that. I miss it. So that...
Oops, sorry. Accidentally muted.
That was a big one right there.
Let's go back.
Business logistics. Or we're talking about animatronic toes. I miss the days where I could just sit down on the couch with her and play video games, and it's not for content. Or I'm playing a game and I'm not thinking about what theories are going to come out of that. I miss it. So that's a big reason. That was a big one right there. But also just the internet's changing. My life has changed in the last 13 years. I mentioned Dolly before.
I agree with
he's
that.
the coolest little dude, and he's getting older by the minute.
He's
and
a
I
really
watch
cool
him,
little
and he
dude.
is so much fun, and he is so much smarter than I was when I was his age. He also probably knows the FNAF lore better than I do, which is a problem that I should probably address at some point. But honestly,
Yeah, that's a big
I want to
problem.
be able
If
to
you're,
spend more time
I
with
think
him.
he's
Another
2.
sad fact of the matter.
It's a problem how someone spent 13 years learning about a video game, and in 2. Wait, how old is Ollie? I think his. How old is Matpat's son? Uh, Matpat married Stephanie. So he is 5 years old. A 5-year-old knows more lore about Five Nights at Freddy's than someone who dedicated their life practically around it.
Matter is I'm getting older. I'm 37 now.
37?
The other day, I actually had to Google my own age, and you know that when you have to start like doing math in your
when I
head to
started
calculate how
watching
old
him,
you are over the hill.
He was
Though to be
30.
fair, to my credit,
He
I
was
think I'm like
30
the
when I
only
started watching
37-year-old out there who has an unironic appreciation of Skibbity Toilet. Then again, maybe that's the problem, right? Like maybe that's not a good thing. And honestly, because this is all about us being honest, there is a bit of a selfish side to this. When you think about it, there's only really 2 ways to step away from a YouTube channel. You either just decide the day that you stop uploading and you're like, I'm done, or you just keep uploading videos from now until the heat death of the universe, and you watch as your relevance slowly dies or your passion slowly dies. And for me and my journey in this place, I always wanted to go out on a high note. And when you stop and look at the last year, this has been the best year in the theorist lifespan ever. Like, no joke. It is our highest view year. It is the year where we launched Style Theory and immediately put our foothold in a brand new space, and that took off, and now we're one of the top style and fashion channels on YouTube.
I remember when you only had
and
game
that kind of
theory
completes the
and film
trifecta of, hey,
theory.
we now have a top channel in 4 different verticals that are completely different, and no other YouTuber really has ever been able to do it to that scale. That's amazing. This is also the year where I was able to meet you guys at our Broadway show. I was able to play at the PGA and show that, hey, YouTubers aren't particularly good at golf, but they can make your event relevant for like a couple of minutes. It was also the year that I got to host the Streamy
years
Awards,
of his
and it wasn't
content.
cringe. I mean, to be
I know
fair,
I
the
said
Streamy
6,
Awards are always
but
a
now
little bit
rethinking
cringe,
it,
but it was
I
the
watched
right.
him for 7 years. And it's kind of sad to just see Matpat, half of my childhood, just go.
Amount of cringe. When I pull up videos of all my favorite creators and I watch them, and all of a sudden I start hearing people just casually dropping, that's just a theory.
It's just a theory, a game theory.
Now, this is just a theory, people.
At the end of the day, it's just a game theory.
That's just a theory.
That's just a theory. A game theory.
A Freebirds theory.
Also, a lot of lore, so if you're a big theory head, proceed at your own risk.
I did not know about this theory.
That's a theory.
That right there, that is incredible. That's the note that I want to leave on. And that's how you just know it's the right time. All of those reasons coming together, saying, hey, this is the moment. And that's hard to say, because change is scary. Change is hard. But sometimes the right decision isn't the easy decision. The easy decision would just be to carry on doing this and do FNAF part 332. That wouldn't be the right
322.
decision. I think the best way to explain it is with a video game analogy. Feels appropriate, right? Whoa, it's game theory. Ha! Did it. Check the game part of it off. But the way I like to think about it is Earthbound. I think I've made it pretty clear over the years that that is, without question, my
His
favorite game
favorite
of all
game.
time. Sans' Nest, all that, you're all familiar with that. But what you might not be familiar with at this point is how the game ends. At the end of Earthbound, after you save the world, everything opens up to you. You can revisit every single location that you've been to. You can talk to every NPC that you met on your journey. And it's this incredible moment as a gamer. You see just how many lives have been impacted thanks to your journey. And then after spending as much time as you want talking to all those people, you end up back home. You go back to where it all began. where you were just a kid waking up in bed and starting your adventure. And even though your mom's there and your dog's there and your weird telephone dad's there, it feels different somehow. Like, sure, this is still a place of love and acceptance and comfort and security, but you just don't quite fit anymore. Because you just traveled the world. You made all these new friends. You are different. You grew up. And your relationship to this place grows up. It evolves. In case you couldn't tell, I'm Ness, which I guess would also mean that I'm also Sans. But I was also Ness in the FNAF movie, which just opens up all sorts of weird canon. Slap a thumbnail on that one. So anyway, there you have it. That is why I'm leaving. I hope you can understand. But that obviously begs the question of, like, what happens to the channel?
Matpat, I understand the reason why you're going. You have been a great childhood. I know you're probably not watching this, but you were my favorite YouTuber. Watching you since I was 5. That's right, I'm 12 now, but I started watching his videos when I was 5 years old. Before that, I was watching Sesame Street, but but he made up a big chunk of my childhood. So I respect that Matpat's reasons of wanting to go.
Well, for the next 10 weeks, we're going to have ourselves a big old going away party. If Unis Annus taught us anything, it taught us that you probably shouldn't use urine for a personal sauna. But if Unis Annus taught us 2 things, one was to not soak in your own urine, but 2 was to appreciate the time that you have left. So that's why over the next 10 weeks, we're going to have a bunch of theories that are going to be a lot of fun, revisiting old favorites, getting some closure on things. We're going to see some familiar faces, a lot of awesome stuff. Although to be fair, I think it's 9 weeks, and I think we counted this one as week 1. That was stupid of us. That, my friends, is how you wind up getting Wario being 10 feet tall. Mathematical rigor. Should have double-checked the numbers. So I have 9 theories left on each of the channels, but we're going to call them Matpat's Final 10 because that just sounds better. At which point then on March 9th, we're going to have that big going away celebration, Matpat's Final Theory, and I just dust away. I stand astride my music man, and I just...
Like I was gonna say, once that last video hits, I'm gonna live stream it. I know I've only been making normal videos, but the second that final one hits, I am going to live stream it. I'm gonna try to pay as much I can to Matt for the very good childhood he gave me.
Whipping Nene off into the distance. But then something special happens. Do the channels go away with me? No, actually. I've always thought that anyone can be a theorist, right? If you are passionate about a topic and you love to overthink it and over-research it, then congratulations. You're a theorist. And that could range from, hey, I have family recipes that I'm constantly looking to refine, to, hey, I want to create the perfect fantasy sports team. Because here's the thing, sports pros, at the end of the day, if you are in the statistics and numbers and doing calculations to see if your team won or lost, you're just playing a glorified Dungeons and Dragons game. Hate to break it to you, you're one of us, my friends. And sure, game theory is a format that I created. It's a show with this very excitable host who makes a lot of cringy dad jokes and says the word lore a lot. But at the end of the day, it's more than just the host. It is a show. It is a format. And in a broader sense, it is a state of mind. It's a way of thinking and approaching the world around you. It's more than just the host. And when you think about it, not a lot of YouTube channels function that way. We're special in that regard. Like, you're not going to be able to get another Markiplier stepping into the Markiplier channel. And you're never going to be able to recreate Jenna Marbles. And to be honest, you're never going to get another Matpat either. But you can have another game theorist. You can have another film theorist or food theorist or style theorist. I think in a lot of ways, we almost function kind of like the Doctor Who of YouTube, where as one host fades away, a new one kind of respawns in their place. And they're able to put their own unique spin and flavor on the format and make it their unique thing. You have eras of the different theorist channels. And so, you know, my era is fading away and someone new is coming in. Maybe this is the David Tennant to Matt Smith transition, right? good, solid series of episodes right there. So who then is going to be taking over the channels? Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but fewer and fewer of the words that I'm saying in any given episode are actually mine. If you go down to the credits, you can actually see in the description that there are certain names that have been appearing more and more frequently. Like, yeah, I'm listed on every single one as the writer because I touch every single script, I polish it into my voice, but in all honesty, the bulk of what I'm saying is coming from someone else. It's their research, it's their work. Why should they have to filter their creativity through my voice? I've always envisioned these channels as a place where we could spotlight all sorts of creators. I mean, it even goes back to the original URL of this channel, right? It isn't game theory, it was always the game theorists, because this was a place where you could find a lot of like-minded creators, all with a passion for gaming and education. That's why we had the partner shows like Gaijin Goomba with Culture Shock, or Drake with Smash History, or Ryder with A Brief History, or Austin with The Science, and Lee with Breakdown. They were all here because we all had a similar goal: to educate people through the lens of gaming. And then YouTube pivoted and then made it so that way doing a channel in that style doesn't really work anymore. But we still try to keep that ethos alive by making sure that we're regularly covering small indie projects. Stuff like OnlyCans, like Mandela Catalog, like OWO. OWO? See? I learned. But if we're doing that for all these other creators,
I remember that.
why aren't
I
we
remember
doing it
that
for the creators
video.
on our own staff who have been in the trenches doing the research, writing these words to deliver to you over the last couple years? I have been fortunate. I have been so blessed to have this platform available to me that you've given me over the last 13 years. But I think now it's time to pass it on to the next generation. It's time to give someone else a shot. But I realize that I'm getting off track here, so back to the question. Who's taking over? First off, it's not going to one person, but rather 4. I would not wish my schedule on anyone. Like, sure, I'm willing to not sleep for the last 13 years of my life, but I feel like as old man YouTube passing this along to the next generation, I should probably do my best to try and make it more sustainable.
I remember like one video is talking about how he's just in the closet making videos. That shows how far Matpat has grown. He came from some videos he's just filming in the closet, and now he has a studio and stuff. Matpat has really grown. Same with this channel, and it makes sense he wants 4 people to do it. Like I honestly think he's not a human with those terrible schedules. Like, staying up for multiple days just to make theories is an absolute chad of a person. Like, I don't know how he does it.
For them, it's also
And I
going to people
respect
that you're
that.
already
Like,
familiar with. You've seen them
I
showing
think
up in
a lot
shorts.
of people
You've seen them here on
respect
the
that.
couch with me for GT Live. You've sometimes seen them washing their hair with me in my own shower. Don't read too much into that, but it is accurate. Most importantly, though,
I
they're
watched
each an
that
expert
video.
in their
It
own
was
individual subject
okay.
matter.
I
And they've
think
been
it was-
spearheading the creative
that
of the
video-
channels for...
I think that video was cleaning your legs by scrubbing or just letting it fall or something. I
for the
think
better
it
part of the
was
last year.
about
And I
that.
think what's maybe the most fascinating about all of this is that each of the 4 of them come to us from a completely different angle. You know, so for instance, you have Lee, right? Lee's going to be taking over film theory, and Lee has been with us for 10 years. 10 years. It's crazy. I believe he was
10?
actually editor number 3 for the channels. We had Ronnie, and then we had Ryder, Foot of a Ferret, and then we had Lee. I think his first theory that he ever worked on was Rosalina's Peach's daughter, Peach is Dead. One of my all-time favorite episodes that we've ever done on the channel. And over time, he rose up. He had his own show on the channel here. He had Breakdown, which were these just beautiful documentaries that were edited in such an incredible way. And since then, he's been spearheading a lot of the creative on both the writing and the visual side. And then, of course, you have Amy over on Style Theory. And Amy is actually a very different case here. When she first approached us, I think it was 6 years ago, she didn't know about the channels. All she knew was that she wanted to learn everything that she could about digital video, and that Theorist was kind of the place that you went to learn that stuff. Like, we were the best when it comes to analytics and optimization and programming and things like that. She got in and she just devoured everything that we threw at her. So much so that she eventually got to the point where she was so good that she was consulting the largest mobile game company in the world based off of the stuff that we were working on here in studio. Incredible. And all of that while being responsible for packaging somewhere around like...
This shows how far... I know I know I said this many times about how far this channel's grown, but I remember a year ago or something, I remember watching a video, and I remember they got sponsored by Google. Don't you think that's crazy? They grew so much, even Google sponsored them. I think I remember that video though. Which theory video got sponsored by Google? Yeah, here it is. Where was it? Free Child, yeah. But anyways, I remember there's a video where he got sponsored by Game Theory.
500 episodes across all the channels. And then she helped me and Steph brainstorm Style Theory for 2 years before the channel eventually launched, hoping that maybe one day she would be able to rise into the hosting role for it. And now here it is. And then, of course, you have Santi and Tom. Santi over on Food Theory and Tom over here on Game Theory. And interestingly enough, they both grew up watching Game Theory. We were their childhood show, which, to be fair, just shows how old we are. Santi would eventually go work at Mythical with Rhett and Link before coming here, where he is bravely spearheading Food Theory and letting me mercilessly make fun of all of his recipes. He's much better than I give him credit for. I just like giving him a hard time. And then Tom, he worked at Disney and Fox, but he knew all along that he wanted to be here, right? Like, this was his aspirational goal. He wanted to write here. He emailed us a cold email outreach. We just miraculously saw it, decided to audition him, and he crushed it. His first episode that he worked on was actually watching every single installment of the Pokemon anime to calculate Pikachu's level. And to be fair, that was his pitch. Like, I have asked people to do some crazy things in the past, but not even I'm that brutal. Like, you can only watch Team Rocket blast off so many times, but he's like, this is an episode I'm passionate about, I think I'm gonna knock it out of the ballpark, and I'm gonna show you how committed I am. And he has been so committed ever since. So committed, in fact, that I told him, hey, if you're joining the channels, you do realize that you're going to have to read every single FNAF book. And he's like, boom, he did it. And we're up here going crazy in the
He
FNAF
even
attic.
read the
But
Hello
not
Neighbor
only
books.
did he read every FNAF novel, he also
The Hello
read
Neighbor
every single
book.
Hello Neighbor book. Yeah, he went that far. Currently, he's working his way through Bendy because the new movie's coming up. If nothing else, I think that really proves his level of commitment and also his appropriate level of insanity. He's a bit off the cuff at times. Like, I don't know if you saw on a recent GT Live, but Tom was here on the couch with me, and he actually denied that the moon existed, which was a choice.
Main character from the chat says, that sounds like somebody who doesn't have a flag on the moon.
I mean, that's if you believe it's even there.
The moon?
I don't think he actually believes that, but if he does, we're going to get some weird Majora's Mask theories, let me tell you. When I go out at this point, I am recognized at least 5 times. It's crazy. It's a really high number at this point. And it's a fascinating split because 50% of the time it's like, oh my gosh, you're Matpat. You were my childhood. I loved watching your FNAF theories. And I'm always like, well, you know, the FNAF's still going. And they're like, what? No way. And we talk about the new game and it's always really fun. But the other half is, oh my gosh, you're Matpat. You are my childhood. I'm watching you right now. I loved your most recent theory. That's awesome. That's such an honor. I've been so honored to be a part of all of your lives. But I think it's time for someone else to have that honor. I think it's time for someone else to get to ruin some childhoods. And that just kind of leaves us with one final question, right? Which is, what about me? You know, where do I go? Do I just retire to a beach somewhere? Do I whip a nene off into the distance? No. I'll still be here. Obviously, first off, we've got our final 10 episodes, like I said, so that's, well, it wasn't 10 episodes. However many episodes are left between now and March 9th, we got those. I'm going to be on GT Live from now until the foreseeable future. Probably until the end of the summer, that feels about right. And then we have the big going away video on March 9th. After that, I, stand aside as Santi, Lee, Amy, and Tom step up and take over the hosting role. But I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be alongside the creative directors talking about programming, brainstorming ideas for upcoming episodes. That's awesome. I love that. I don't want to give that up. But the other cool thing about this is that it opens up the door for me to turn the script. For the last 13 years, I've been commenting on other people's IP, But now that I'm stepping out of those roles, I get to create the IP. Still as a part of Theorist, but I get to create things that are going to challenge those new hosts of the channel. Things that I've had in the back of my mind from years of studying media that I can now make a reality, and the channels can comment on them. Things like, for instance, I have a lo-fi mystery series that I think you're really going to dig. It's basically like if you took a lo-fi channel and applied an ARG narrative to it, it becomes lore-fi. I am so stoked about this. The music is sounding really good. The animations
That's a
are coming
really
together
good
well.
idea.
That's going to be launching in a couple weeks. We'll see if Lee over on Film Theory is going to be able to solve it. In April, I'm actually going to be coming back onto Style Theory to host a giant fashion show that we're doing there. We all collectively have this thought of like, hey, online brands, online influencers are coming up with their own apparel lines. Why is there no place to showcase that sort of stuff? And then it hit us like, hey, we have a style and fashion channel. Why aren't we doing it ourselves? Creators in Fashion by Style Theory, that is coming to you in April, hosted by me. Some of the time that I'm not hosting the channels, I'm going to be practicing my runway walk. Because let me tell you, if I'm sashaying down the runway, if I'm stomping the runway, it's not going to be pretty right now. So I need to practice that a little bit. There's also this animation show that we did a pilot for in like the middle of last year. It's basically like if you took Gravity Falls but aged it up and made it about adulting. It's really, really solid. And also there's this video game idea that I want to do for like so long that I've never had the opportunity to really like dive into and make reality. But now it's my chance to step into the role of Scott Cawthon and challenge the new game theorist. There's always been the memes about, are Scott Cawthon and I the same person? Not yet. But who knows? Maybe starting later this year. And those are just the immediate things that I have on my to-do list because I want to make fun, cool things for you. And even if it's not a weekly episode, I still want to give those things to you because I think you'll like them. You matter to me. You are so important to me. Every single one of those people who stop me on the street, it's an honor, right? It's interesting. Because of this whole transition, I've been thinking a lot about my time on these channels and the evolution that we've gone to together. In the beginning, right, I was kind of like the edgy older brother where I would talk about like, oh, did you know that Link is dead? And let's make some boob jokes. And then at a certain point, I evolved into Dad Pat, right? I became a little bit more mature. I had the team around me. I had to be more careful about who I was saying was dead on a regular basis. Instead of talking about boobs, I ended up talking about Luigi's bulge. That felt like the right decision. At this point,
I watched
think
that
I'm
video.
kind of
I
evolving
kind of
into
laughed a little bit.
a grandpa Pat, for lack of a better term. And just like your grandparents, hopefully cool grandparents, but just like a grandparent, you don't get to see me all the time. And I don't get to see you all the time. And maybe we call and talk to each other every once in a while. But at the end of the day, that grandpa loves getting to see you. Maybe he shows up at a special event. Maybe he shows up at a holiday. Maybe he shows up at the Theory Wear fashion show. Who knows? But he so looks forward to seeing you. And the love that he has for you, it doesn't go away. That grandpa is so proud of you. And he cherishes the relationship that you've had so much. And he is so honored to be a part of your life. To have been a part of helping you grow and helping you experience the world.
It's so sad
And
seeing
he looks forward to seeing you
Matpat crying.
at the next event.
This
And if you
really
see him on the
shows he
street,
meant
we'll hang out.
so much
And
to
hopefully he
us.
brings you cool, fun gifts. I know this is going to sound cheesy. And I know the internet will probably rake me over the coals. For crying, for one, but I love you guys. I do. You're not just numbers. You're not just ad impressions. You're not just merch sales. What you have done for me, and from everyone I talk to, what I've done for you, is special. It's special. When I was in middle school, I had this goal of making the world a better place because I had been a part of it.
And you have.
It didn't have to be big.
Matpat has
It didn't have to be
made
curing
this world
cancer.
better. He made millions and
But I
millions
wanted
of
there to
childhoods.
have been a ripple impact. Just because I was there. Butterfly effect.
he was 24 when he started the make game theories.
I think we've been able to achieve something
24.
great here.
And he said he's
You
37.
have taken me on the wildest, craziest 13-year ride of my life. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, so he was
So,
24.
Grandpa Pat is going to sign out now, and I'll be around for a couple more weeks. I'll be living around the house for a while. We'll have a big family reunion celebration. Then I'll go off to my little shack in the woods, my retirement home down in Florida, and I'll pop in every once in a while. Anyway, at this point in my notes, I had it written that we're going to start a countdown clock of that, like, final 10 episodes, final 9 episodes, so start that. I don't know what's going to look like yet. Hopefully the editors don't rip off Unasanas too much. If they do, I hope they change it. And with that, I'm going to say, for one of the final times,
Thought they just said
not the
10.
final time, but one of the final times, as always, my friends, remember, it's just a theory. A
Game theory.
Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Bon apple teas. I think he says, yeah. I want to say thank you, Matpat, for making my childhood. No, I know it sounds like I'm just taking things from the video, but now I'm rethinking this, he was my childhood. Like, I remember for summer break, I would go days of just watching his theories. Just continuous days of nothing else but his theories. I think I one time went a whole month of only watching his theories. So, thank you, Matpat. And it's not just a theory, it's a game theory. Bon apple teas.